Okay, allow me to share my screen then.
Good afternoon, Miss. Sorry,
Yes,
I entered a bit late. I was having connectivity issues. I
it's
think I
okay.
missed your attendance check.
No, no, I will check the attendance towards the end. It's okay. So,
Okay, thank you, Miss.
to have this allowance for those who have connectivity problems. So we are now on module 1. So this will, as discussed in the orientation, this is the part wherein we're going to distinguish between entrepreneurship and technopreneurship. So what's the difference between the two? Okay. So if I'm going to go into presentation class and if my slides are not transitioning, please let me know. So this is module 1. And the first part, of course, of every module, as you can see in your canvas, is the learning objectives. So the desired outcomes for you, learning outcomes specifically for you students. So our goal for this particular, okay, Joshua is raising his hand. Not transitioning,
Wala naman
Josh.
PSD ako ano,
It's okay.
ang whole na PPT.
Sige, sige. So I will just have it here. I will not anymore resort to slideshow. Can you see my slide? I'm on the second slide, the learning objectives.
Yes, ba?
Okay, thank you, Josh. So as for our learning objectives, our learning objective for this first module, since it's introductory in nature, you should be able to define technology, entrepreneurship, and technopreneurship. Then as students, you should be able as well to distinguish the difference between an entrepreneur and a technopreneur. Then the last is you are to discuss the difference between the process entrepreneurial and technopreneurial processes. So this would be our simple learning objectives for this first module. As for the topics, I divided it into 4 major sections. So the first part, we will talk about technology and entrepreneurship. How will these two be merged? That way we will come up with the word technopreneurship. Then before we go to the technopreneurial process towards the end, which is your guide in later on in the submission of your outputs and the compliance of your outputs, we'll discuss first the entrepreneurship. Then we go to the entrepreneurial process and the technopreneurial process. So we cannot let go of the concept of entrepreneurship because it's needed in technopreneurship. So that is why it's being discussed prior to, let's say, for example, an in-depth discussion of the technopreneurial process. Okay, so first we go to technology and entrepreneurship. So how is this two related? Or first and foremost, how are we supposed to define these two? So when we speak of technology, anybody who can give me an idea what comes into mind when we speak of technology? As engineering students, I know you have an idea what is this. Or probably not in placed in exact words, but you have an idea what technology is. So what is technology? Anybody? Or you can place in the chat box. I can read your definition for technology. What is technology?
Permission to speak, Miss.
Okay. Yes.
In my opinion, Miss, technology is something that assists humans in their everyday lives.
Okay. Something that assists humans in their everyday life, or if we're going to polish that definition, something that assists humans in their everyday lives. So some here has written application of scientific knowledge. So again, I would like to capitalize on the word scientific. Then the application, again, there's the term here of science and invention. And Earl wrote an application of science. So it's an application of science using the knowledge of science, and we together place also there the, or we connect also the word invention, equipments means developed from the application of scientific knowledge. Now you have your best ideas of technologies. Thank you for those who have written in the chat box. And none of this is wrong. They all have that particular idea of what technology is. Now let's look into the definition of those that have written references or materials related to technology and technopreneurship. So how do they define technology? So technology is a body of knowledge devoted to creating tools. So there was this term a while ago that was used, create, processing actions. So it's not only tools, but processing actions and the extracting of materials. So it is an application of science. So you use the word science to use to solve problems. So if I'm going to simplify this particular definition taken from a text on technopreneurship, and using the original, the first definition that was given by your classmates, it is used in assisting our daily lives on how we conduct lives. So if we're going to polish it, it makes life a lot easier than as if we're going to compare it with the previous human, the first human beings, those that are in the Stone Age wherein technology is not yet present. So we use science, we invent things, we innovate on the things that are old, and we make them more, shall I say, easy for us now in our current time. And the end goal is always to make life easier and to make life more enjoyable. So using science as a tool, innovating to make life enjoyable. So I think that is the simplest definition of technology. Now, if we're going to connect it with entrepreneurship, because this too is related to technopreneurship, entrepreneurship, on the other hand, is the practice of embarking on a new business venture, or it could be an existing businesses by combining different resources in order to develop new opportunities. Now, these opportunities may come in the form of new opportunities for just one person, or it could be an opportunity for a partnership, or it could be even an opportunity for a corporation. So as long as we take we take opportunities and embark on probable profits that are posted by these opportunities, then we are doing what we call entrepreneurship. Now, if we connect these two, that technology and the entrepreneurship, then what we have now is our subject. Actually, this course of yours is just introductory in nature. We're not going to deal deeper into the financials because we're not accounting students and there are those who are well versed in this field. But we're just going to look into the use of your ideas, coming up with something that could be of use to mankind in general. So now let's go into technopreneurship. We marry or we merge the two words. So technopreneurship is simply the merging of technology and entrepreneurial skills. Now, it's a new breed of entrepreneurship. It's a term I think that has been started since 1997. As way back 1997, we already have this term technopreneurship. And this involves the collaboration of people. So we are not now thinking only of just a single proprietorship in the case of pure entrepreneurship, but this is collaboration of people who are intelligent, determined, creative. So this is a very important characteristic of a technopreneur, technology savvy, and passionate in dealing with risk and functions as a team. So when we speak of technopreneurship, we speak of technology, we speak of entrepreneurship, and we speak of collaboration. So not single proprietorship as in entrepreneurship. So this is how the term technopreneurship came into view. So we marry the two words entrepreneur and technology. So now we go to entrepreneur since it's a part of technopreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? Okay. Now, a book on entrepreneurship may have it divided into different types. So you can have what we call as the innovative, the imitating, the Fabian, or the drone entrepreneur. So that's going to look into them later one by one. But as an entrepreneur, if you're going to define what an entrepreneur is, it is a person that possesses various skills in terms of marketing, okay, communication, and strategically has the potential demand for the goods and services, whether as a whole proprietor with partners and within a corporation. So as I have repeatedly mentioned a while ago, when we speak of entrepreneur, it could be only one person, it could be a partnership, or it could be a corporation. But I'd like to zero in on this particular phrase here that has the potential demand for goods and services. So there is the existence of an entrepreneur because he sees that there is this demand for this particular goods or material, or for this particular service or services. So he exists because of this demand for goods and services. Now, speaking of these different types of entrepreneur that you could see on the right hand side of your screen, we're going to look into each one. Okay, and probably you may have in mind already what type of an entrepreneur is a friend or somebody that you know already who is an entrepreneur. So let's go to them one by one. When we think of an innovative entrepreneur, so we speak of an innovative entrepreneur as that person that has such a great passion in discovering and developing new products, new ideas, and new processes. So not limited only to products, but ideas and processes. They are the one who are willing to take risks in every new innovation because, take note, they enjoy being challenged. So this is the innovative entrepreneur. More likely now you will have a glimpse of a technopreneur in this case because they discover and develop new products, ideas, and new processes. And I think these are the most likely type of entrepreneurs that will have, shall I say, exponential increase in their profit later on. Because they are, shall I say, dynamic, because they keep on developing and discovering new ideas. So they have probably developed a product, but over the years, they develop the product that way it will be best suited to the needs of the market. So that is why they say they are the ones that will have exponential increase in their profit, and even exponential coverage of the market size. Okay, the innovative entrepreneur. But let's look on the others as well. This is common nowadays. I could see this proliferating in social media. The imitating entrepreneur. Okay? Can I ask somebody to read? Let me check here. Aliyah, can you please read the imitating entrepreneur?
Or imitating entrepreneur is a person who immediately copy the existing products made by the innovative entrepreneur because there is no such new inventions or new innovations. The continuous development of mobile phones because of the massive demands in the market is an example. Imitating entrepreneurs can come up with the same features and specifications where they just imitate the technology, process, and methods pioneered by the others.
Okay, thank you, Aliyah. So ano ni sila yan? These are the type of entrepreneurs that are just sitting back, uh, just waiting for uh, what's new and then imitate what they see. The reason why there's a proliferation of different brands of cell phones already compared to my time when I was just around 20 years old, or in my late 20s up to now, it's because of this imitation. They try to package their cell phones as if there's something new about it, but actually the main, shall I say, the software behind the cell phone, let's say it's just for the iPhone, it's just the iOS. For the other one, the Samsung, the what are the other phones? There's just so many phones now in the market. The Vivo, the other phones that you have there, even the China phones that have so many applications, but you can buy at much lesser cost compared to those that I would like to say as the innovative entrepreneur, because they just copy what this innovative entrepreneur has started in the first place. And take note, at some point they can even make it even more marketable because they added features to it. But the main feature is just being copied. So this is in the case of the imitating entrepreneur. And they're making money because in the case of us here in the Philippines, we are a third world country and not everybody can afford a cell phone that would cost 50,000, 80,000 or so in those high brands of cell phones, the high-end cell phones. So the others would just settle for the low brands as long as their need is satisfied. What is that need? That they can make, they can take selfies, that they can record, that they can watch YouTube. That's just their job there. They can post in Facebook. They can see the what's being posted in Facebook. That's it. So if they can buy a 7,000 phone or even a 3,000 phone, why buy a 50,000 or a 60,000 phone? Okay, especially with Android, where majority of the phones that is using Android already. Exception lang si Apple, siguro kasi iOS, the rest, most of them are all Androids. So that's imitating. But they make money even if they just imitate from the innovative entrepreneur. But there's just only the second type. Let's look into the third type, the Fabian entrepreneur. So there's a term now, a unique term associated with this type of entrepreneur. Can I ask Colleen? Can you read, Colleen, the Fabian entrepreneur?
Fabian entrepreneur is a type of person that is skeptical about the changes that will be made in the organization. They are not decided to develop new innovations unless they are satisfied with the result or the outcome of the released products in the market. They are not risk taker as they wanted to anticipate success in the market first before indulging into the next project as they are not willing to have financial loss due to its failure.
Okay. Thank you, Colleen. So ano ni sila ya? If we're going to use our term in the dialect, in our vernacular language, these are the sigurista type of entrepreneur. They want to check first whether their current introduced product in the market will earn. Before they will even make innovations on that particular product, they will make sure that they have already earned in their current product, in the current product they introduce into the market. So they are skeptical of the changes that they're going to make. So they want to make sure that first, before they try to make it better or add on features on what they have already made, they make sure that they have already earned. So sigurista, ini silang type sa entrepreneur. The Fabian entrepreneur. Now, the last type, the drone. Has this something to do with the drone helicopters, the one that take the pictures? Let's see. So we have, can I ask Arnica to read if
Drone entrepreneurs are reluctant to change as they are happy with the result of their business, even if they have financial losses. They are not eager to make any changes in their organization.
okay, so what is this? They are the happy-go-lucky type of entrepreneur. If they make it, they're very happy. If they don't make it, it's nothing bad, or they don't really feel that bad compared to, if I may say, to the Fabian type of entrepreneur who makes or sees to it that they earn before they even venture on another type of innovation or another particular type of product or service. So this one, okay lang mag-earn, okay lang hindi mag-earn. So they are the drawn entrepreneur. Now, if we're going to look into the discipline entrepreneur by a foreign author, you can see that in the references that I placed in the material that I posted in Canvas. This is how an entrepreneur should be looked into. So when we speak of an entrepreneur, we can have either a small, medium enterprise, which has the focus only on the local or on the domestic market. And we can have one that is innovation and driven or innovation driven enterprise, or shortcut is IDE. Now, the focus of this innovation driven enterprise is now the global market. If you're going to look as to the advantage of one over the other, it may look like the small, medium enterprises have a linear increase over time in their profit, and there seem to be growth even if it's small. So if you're not that ambitious rather, you would go for this, the small business enterprise. And probably when you have already learned or earned your niche in the market, you can venture in something bigger. Why? Because this is really, shall I say, given already to you that you will earn, even though it's just but little. But in the case of the innovation-driven enterprise, you may not earn at the beginning. So you could see that there was a downward trend in here in revenue at the beginning. This is what they say in every process, the learning curve. They still learn in this particular part, but the increase towards the end, when you know already what your market needs, what your market wants, and what is the rate in which this particular want of your market changes over time, you will see a marked increase or an exponential increase in revenue. Doesn't mean that small medium enterprise does not earn, but they earn only a little compared to those that are, of course, in terms of market focus, have it global. Okay, this one is just domestic or local market. So your delta T here is short. You get to earn over a short period of time. In here, your delta T is long. But look at the increase. It's exponential. So for a short amount of time, though you have this learning curve here, you have this exponential increase in revenue. The growth rather here is linear for the SMEs, and it's capped. So over time, if you don't change your product, if you're a restaurant, for example, you're offering this particular type of menu, if you don't innovate with the proliferation of so many, shall I say, types of menus based on different cultures. Those that have traveled abroad would like to bring the culture of Thailand, would like to bring the culture of or the other cuisine, the other types of cuisine from other cultures. They would like to place it into a different restaurant probably. And people always try something new. So if you are this particular small restaurateur, and you want to stay in that particular niche of yours, you have to really modify over time. Because if that is the case, your growth will be capped after a period of time. Kung amo na lang din na siya yung imo i-offer, wala ka sang i-change. Over time, amo naman lang ng imo nga earnings, hindi na siya magdako. Compared to a restaurant that is innovating over time, that is continually changing the menu or changing probably the aura or the ambiance of the resto, just of course to bring in customers of varied, shall I say, class A, class B, class C, or class D types of customers. Now, here you could see in the ITE type of entrepreneur, you have exponential growth, uncapped earnings or revenue, and a lot of investment, however, is required in here. Right? This one will only require less investment. So these two are still entrepreneurship. This one smaller, the other one is bigger in scope. But if you are the type that is, shall I say, you are challenged, you are the one, you are a risk taker, then you go IDE, the innovative type, the innovation-driven type of entrepreneur. Now, so speaking of innovation, here in the innovation-driven enterprise, innovation means you need to invent so that you can commercialize. So innovation is invention together with commercialization. When you speak of invention, doesn't have to be class nga, ano, a cell phone or something that is something to do with gadgets. No, invention, an idea can be an invention. It need not be something that is directly related to technology. So invention for the sake of commercialization is actually innovation. Now, since we're talking about entrepreneurship, Bill Ocklet shared in his book the 7 misconceptions about what an entrepreneur is. Or in our language, if I may say, ano dapat ang characteristics ng isa ka entrepreneur para siya maging successful. for that entrepreneur to be successful, what is really required of him, or is it needed that he has or she has these particular characteristics? So these are the 7 misconceptions, and you need to know this because probably as I was reading this, I was thinking that it's really needed for an entrepreneur to have this particular type of characteristic, but actually it's not. Okay, so the 7 whooping lies told about entrepreneurs rather, which are actually damaging to all involved parties. So number 1, again, entrepreneurs are mercurial individualists. Can somebody explain this in simple layman language? What's your understanding of this? Entrepreneurs are mercurial individualists. From the term mercurial and individualist. You may place your answers on the chat box. So hindi siya tuod that entrepreneurs are mercurial individualists. What do we mean by this? Yeah, I will wait. Mercurial individualist. So from the term mercurial and individualist. Oh, nobody has an idea. You can place on the chat box your idea of this. Let's see. Just what do you think does this mean? Let me check. Mercurial individualist.
Galain-lain nila decision, miss.
Come again?
Kaya lain-lain nila nga decision.
Galain-lain na ila decision. So, if I will use a single word, undecided, ever-changing, I have 2 now in the chat box. Entrepreneurs are unpredictable. Are unpredictable individual. They change mind without warning. Sige. Another 1, reckless. Entrepreneurs cannot work alone. They need connections. Okay. So this is a myth. Okay. When you speak of mercurial, when it's used as an adjective to a person, what comes into your mind? Mercurial. It's also used as an adjective also to like mercurial task. What do you mean in the first place when you use the word mercurial? Sa aton language, what do we mean by mercurial? Okay, I have 1 here. Unpredictable. Okay, so that's your understanding of mercurial, unpredictable. Anyone? Wais, miss? Wais? Mercurial individualist. Okay, 1 answer a while ago says that entrepreneurs cannot work alone. They need connections. This is correct because it's a myth when they say that they are individualists. Individualist, wala ikaw lang niya, kaya ko niya. Now, what about that? I was looking for a person that will give me the right term for the mercurial adjective that was used. So, an entrepreneur is not a standalone person that he can make his business work alone, like individually. So, it's not true. What about the term mercurial? Mercurial individualist. If you're going to use our vernacular language para easy maintindihan, what's your understanding of mercurial? Volatile. Volatile. Okay. So, macro. Maro. Macro. Maro, miss. Maro. When you speak class of mercurial, it's like, I'm going to give you an analogy. When you speak of a mercurial task, it's just like David and Goliath. David has a mercurial task of slaying Goliath. If you're going to look at it, it's really impossible for David to slay Goliath with just a slingshot and knowing the size of Goliath. That's mercurial. something that is near impossible to hindi develop pwede maubra. So when it's used as an adjective, it's something that is immense in terms of a challenge, something that is near impossible, mercurial. So when we speak of entrepreneurs as they are mercurial individualists, don't think of them as their extra, shall I say, extra sagad, extra maro, extra wais na individualists, that they will be able to stand alone, hurdle the challenges of running a business, stand alone. So it's not true. So they have shall we say, advisors. They ask from somebody, a friend or a family who knows the business well already, or they learn from somebody. So just like anyone or anybody, they start as an apprentice of somebody. Say they are not mercurial, super wae, super maro, super sagad, or something like that. Just like anybody, they have to start learning. They have to start from scratch. So this is what it meant with me say entrepreneurs are mercurial individualists. They are not. So this is myth number 1, and it's not true. What about number 2? Here. Entrepreneurs are the smartest and the most high-achieving people in the room. I'm sure you will not agree with this. Okay? Who among you here would tell me that I know somebody who was not able to even finish college but is earning much times 10 times 100 times as one who is cum laude or summa cum laude because he or she happens to be just an entrepreneur? I think a lot of you will attest to this. You don't need to be the smartest and the most high achieving person in the room for you to be an entrepreneur. Do you know of an entrepreneur who has not even finished college? There's a lot of them. Did Bill Gates finish college? Bill Gates did not finish college, right? He's a college dropout. But look at him now. He is earning billions. Probably he is smart, but he has people working for him that, in my opinion, even smarter than him. Probably he's just smart on the way the business works, but as to who are those who are making the programs, who are those who are doing the coding, they are even smarter than him. He employs the smartest of those people, but those people are under only him. They're just receiving salary from him. Who is earning the most? Bill Gates. But he has not even finished college. So our common notion is smartest are those mga magna cum laude, summa cum laude, mga laude laude. They have the Latin honors after their names when they graduate. But you don't need to be the smartest and the most high achieving person to be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that the magna cum laudes cannot be good entrepreneurs. I'm just saying that you don't need to be one to be a good entrepreneur or to be an entrepreneur in the first place. So probably we can have a pooling of the great minds. A mind that is good with people, relationship with people, a mind that is good with advertising, a mind that is good with coding, a mind that is good with looking for, let's say, probable, shall I say, partners. You group them together and you make a good business, you make a good corporation. That's what Microsoft is. They are the, shall I say, they are the leading supplier of everything that we need. Without them, we cannot exist even in our pandemic now, because everything that we're using is anchored upon them. We're using their technology. So that's it. So you don't need to be smartest to be an entrepreneur. Oh, I forget. This is what I was thinking, and I'm guilty of this, that entrepreneurs are born, not made. I was thinking that if you don't have it in your blood to be an entrepreneur, you cannot be an entrepreneur. It's something like you're born to be an entrepreneur. I think of it that way. But Bill Ocklet begs to disagree with that. So everybody starts as an apprentice. Everybody starts as a learner. So they are not born, but rather they are just like anybody who would like to earn and who would like to would like to learn and earn at the same time. So that's it. We know it is in there, but we just can't seem to find that entrepreneurship gene. So there's no such thing as an entrepreneurship gene. Everything is learned, as what they say. So you don't need to be uh, born in a family wherein the father is an entrepreneur, or the sister or the brother or the lolo, the great grand lolo is an entrepreneur. Maybe you have it in you, but you have not yet discovered it. But probably you're not going to sell goods, but you're going to sell ideas. You're going to sell services, something like that. So it's not something that you should have in the first place, that you should have that entrepreneurship gene. Okay, we all learn it, we can learn it. Number 4, entrepreneurs love risk. I was thinking of this also, that most entrepreneurs love risk, but actually they're just the same people as like us, that would also be like makulbaan man, they would also be fearful of losing big. That is why before they venture on something, they do market analysis. They make sure that their ideas, when they present it to the market, is well researched, and they have researched also the market. They have also research done on the market, on what the market wants, and if their idea is saleable or has a greater probability of being accepted by the market. Okay, they are not the risk takers in the first place, because they make sure that whatever they introduce into the market would love, or the market would receive. That's just like the way they envision it, that the market would receive what they presented or offered to it. Hindi kay ma-risk ko lang miski wala ka balo whether ang market amo ni ang types ng market ihatag mo ni nga produkto, kay risk taker ko ihatag ko lang ang mayuman kung i-receive nila or batunon nila mayman, okay lang kung hindi. See, that's part of the learning process. No, the reason why those that are, shall I say, making good in the market, or is as an entrepreneur is making big in the market, it's because it's backed with research. And you know what research does? They research the type of families, the type of persons that are living in a particular city, how much goes to the US, how many goes to the US every month, how many goes to Asia every month, what type of cuisine they would most likely love to eat. Bacolod people, what do Bacolod people do? They like to taste new cuisines every month. They would hop from one resto to another just to check what is something new, or something like that. All of those are researched by a good entrepreneur. That way, whatever he or she introduces in the market, it will be well received by the market. So, hindi lang sila nga risk taker nga miski wala ka balo. And they say in our language, bala malumpat sa lina, wala ka balo, malumpat ka lang, lumpatan mo gali. Do you see water, but it's very shallow. And then you end up hurting yourself because you jump into a shallow water or something like that. Okay? Now, number 5 myth is entrepreneurs are successful because they are charismatic. Can you translate this in our vernacular language? And I am guilty of this. Entrepreneurs are charismatic people. True. But is it also okay if you are not charismatic? Can I be an entrepreneur even if I'm not charismatic? What do you think? Can you be an entrepreneur even if you're not charismatic? Let me ask Jules, Santiago. If you're not charismatic, can you be an entrepreneur? Of course, yes. Why do you think, Jobern, may of course gidyang imo answer? Why do you think even if you're not charismatic, you can still be a good entrepreneur? What will you do, Jobern? There are people who are not charismatic, or they're just the personality that, or there are people nga layo pa lang do kanami, naging sa alright, they're okay. So let's see. It depends on the attitude, miss. What will you do? Let's say, for example, I give myself as an example. I may not be charismatic, but I can be an entrepreneur. What do you suggest me do? That way I can be successful if I'll be an entrepreneur. The way you deal with people. Correct. When you speak of charismatic, it's the way you deal with people. Now, as long as, ako ba, example ko, hindi ko bimayo mag-deal sa tao, but I can still be a good entrepreneur. What do you suggest I do? Yes, miss, as long as kabalo ka mag-diskarte, pangita partner na charismatic. Very good. Very good, Aliana. That's it. You don't need to be charismatic. You may have the idea, you have somebody who is charismatic, translate that idea into something that people will grab or people will receive. So pangita ka sang advertiser, ipangita ka sang ma-market sang imo produkto nga grabe nga charismaya 101%. Though you who has that idea is not charismatic in the first place. So that's number 5 myth. I was also thinking that when you have to be an entrepreneur, dapat mayo pagid sa tao. It's a plus plus plus. It's a plus plus if you are charismatic at the same time in terms of idea. Brilliant kagigyan na balang pagkakita mo sa opportunity, you can translate it into a marketable idea in where you are, something like that. May ara gini ang mga tao nga muna plus plus kung charismatic siya. Pero may ara, I know people nga hindi sila charismatic, pero tigani ko mga stricto sa mga itsura nila, though in-check pa na sila, matsag mo though you have to find the right time, you have to find the right word so that you can talk to them, because they are not just charismatic, but they are successful in their businesses. What do? They hire the charismatic people. Correct, Earl? Kita ka, isang tao nga charismatic who will do the marketing for you. Doesn't have to be you. Okay? The reason why in this subject of technopreneurship, there is always this word of collaboration is because we are to collaborate. People need to collaborate. That way, whatever their product is, goods, may it be services, may it be the manner in which ideas are marketed. Ang may ara, yung ang ila business yung marketing lang din mo, they are the marketing arm of any business. They are good at it. It would make it. So this is wrong when we speak that you need to be charismatic for you to be an entrepreneur. Okay. Second to the last myth. Russian roulette. Entrepreneurs are just simply lucky people. Chinese people will say there is this element of luck. Even Filipino entrepreneurs may say there's this element of luck. But all businesses that I know, even if it's not written in the books, amo ni ganing irony plus kay all business books, even my husband will comment on this. Why is it that all books on business and management always will talk of the progress or the successes? They don't talk of how that particular person, like say, go through the eye of the needle to where he is now. Because everything, all the successful, shall I say, all the successful businesses have to go through this learning curve, going through the eye of the needle with the learn the business, the intos to and fro of the business the hard way. It's not being taught. You have to really go through the process. So amo nang ginhambal nila that there's just this small element of luck, but the main thing there is really persistence and believing that your idea or your product is really saleable or will really make it in the market. Probably at the beginning it won't, but you modify it. That is why you have to have this innovation-driven mindset. That way you continually improve your product in whatever form that may be. That way you will not just make it in the market, you will just not make it big in the market, but you will continue to stay in the market. Ano mala na siya kung ma-earn ka malang isa ka tuig, dua ka tuig, and after that, you're nowhere to be found already. You earn and you stay. And that's the success of the businesses that are really making it big. So important is always preparation. There has to be preparation. That is why, as I mentioned a while ago, there are researches done or market study done on a particular service or goods that will be offered in the market. Offered by, of course, coupled with the opportunity that the entrepreneur sees. So it's not just that element of luck. Although the Chinese people will have the feng shui again to go back to on how their restaurants will be constructed, where should the windows be, what should be the door be, what should be the color of the counter, and all those things. But it's just part of the entire of the just small part of the success of a business. The last myth is this: entrepreneurs are undisciplined. I never thought of entrepreneurs as undisciplined. I know you will agree with this. They are the persons who sleep late and wake up early. Okay? They are the persons who are very disciplined, especially when it comes to their finances. What has to be spent only for this month, for this particular area, amo lang ginaya, hindi na ya ang na-budget sa amo ni, amo lang gina. The other areas will not be anymore touched. So they are not, on the contrary, entrepreneurs are really very disciplined. They are the ones, they are very disciplined and they are actually hard working. So, ang iba nagatulog na, sila ya gabog-gabog daw pa, kami ginaubra pa sila. Okay? So, that's it. So, for you to be, as I say, a successful entrepreneur, you have to consider first that you should be working as a team. So, it's not individualist. It's not, you are not a mercurial individualist. So, it's a team. You have this small idea, you develop it into your probable market after market research, and you execute that particular idea. So this is the pie, the success pie of a successful entrepreneur. Now, being an entrepreneur, so those are the 7 myths. Probably, according to Bill, basi may ara pa nga wala yan na mention. But the truth is, entrepreneurship is a craft. And just like any craft, it is having 2 ends, the science and the art. If it's science, it's being learned. As to the art, you always continually improve. So with this known, we have this thinking now that being an entrepreneur or venturing into being an entrepreneur is accessible to anybody. No specific requirement that you have to be smart, extra smart, or you have to be charismatic. Okay? It is a builder of unique products. So you innovate. That way you come up with something unique every day, every year, every month. From your original product, you innovate. So you build something that is unique. It's something that is learnable. So I have mentioned that already. Since it's a science, so you learn it. You learn the process. First principles exist but don't assure success. So there has to be persistence. And everybody starts with this. At least this goes with anything. We always start at the bottom. We always start as an apprentice of somebody. Nobody becomes right away when born becomes already a learned scientist. So they became apprentices of somebody who is ahead of them or who learned ahead of them. Okay? Now, we will cover the rest of this particular module. I think I'm about to finish probably in 10 to 15 minutes next meeting. But please read what is in your canvas regarding your requirement for Tuesday next meeting. Okay, that will be done by groups. So there will be 6 groups who will be reporting on Tuesday. I placed there the time allotment for the reporting. That way I can finish this one as well. So I will finish this first, by the way, before we start with the reporting on Tuesday. Okay? As to who or what group will report first, that will be randomly selected next meeting. So everybody gets to prepare. There will be 6 groups who need to prepare for their report for the assignment. There shouldn't be any, shall I say, class hindi dapat, I'll stop sharing. Wala dapat